We were very lucky. We seemed to have been in the right place at the right time with something which was the right thing. It's terrible to look at it in such in business terms like that, but you have to say the right product in the right place at the right time makes money. Well, our concern wasn't really to make money, although we didn't refuse the money and we didn't want to make no money. The purpose was to get success, to be able to play our music whenever we wanted to, as often as we wanted to, and to learn to play it better. And we just started off with Ken Colley for a year. We made a record that was very much well received, and played on the radio a bit. And we played at all the different jazz clubs around, and they were always full. And then I took the band over after disagreeing with Ken in 1954, and Pat Halcox joined it, and we made an LP. And the first LP we made, we had difficulty to convince Decca to allow us to put on that LP Lauren Donegan singing a song called Rock Island Line. I mean, we had to more or less force them to let us do Rock Island Line by Lonnie with the Skiffle Group, which was myself on the bass and Beryl Bryden on the washboard, which was a record which eventually made Lauren Donegan's name as a very successful act, and also made Decca a few £1 million. Mm-hmm. We had a session fee for that record anyway. We got £75 between us, 6 of us, to make that record, that LP, 10-inch LP. Not bad. Huh? Skiffle was a word which we gave to something which we played. We were playing what amounted to us to be country blues, house rent party music, typically recorded in the late 20s by people like Blind Blake and Blind and Jefferson Blind, all those people, and Big Bill Brunsey, these kind of players. It's a kind of mixture of, country blues, country dance music, and like rent party music. And we called it skiffle because the word had been used in the 20s for just that purpose. It had also been used in the late 30s by a guy called Dan Burley, an American Negro who ran a newspaper in Harlem, and he had made a skiffle record, which was what they call rent party music, more or less blues. I suppose you call it bluesy rock and roll in a sense. But once we had got a group together playing it, Lauren Donegan with the guitar, myself with the bass, with our drummer, then another guitar to help him out, rhythm guitar player to help him out. This became then an organized band. And when you have an organized band and you give a performance, you start to need a variety. You can't just sing country blues after country blues after country blues. Well, maybe you could now, but you couldn't then. And we didn't even want to. And the variety in performance that Lonnie wanted to bring in was much more towards the country and western side. So skiffle turned more towards country and western than really the rest of us liked. And finally, when Lonnie left, we carried on for a little while with Johnny Duncan, an American guy who was really a country and western artist. And then after a year, we gave that up. We said, this is going the wrong way. Skiffle became more into the pop world, not quite even that, but more country and western, which wasn't our idea. Our idea was to make country blues. In fact, to play what someone like Rory Gallagher is playing nowadays. But it didn't work that way, so we gave it up in the end. It was just part of the music. I mean, all this music, this traditional jazz, it's a very, very broad spectrum. There's an enormous amount of music, of different sounding music, which belongs into that whole category, all of which is valid, all of which is worth playing. And we like to play with our band a hell of a lot of different things out of it, whether it be heavily arranged Ellington type pieces, or swing numbers, whether it be New Orleans parade marches, which are totally really unarranged, don't need arranging because you play the melody all the time, whether it's classic jazz 20s style pieces, or what. We like all those things, so we like doing them all. And then we've tried to produce things of our own if we can during the years. Battersea Rain Dance, for example, which is just a kind of a combination of the different influences that we had. You know, we didn't start playing this music in order to perpetuate some possibly wrong idea of what it was like at some previous time. We simply wanted to learn to play the music right. And we said that to play the music right, you had to learn the foundation, acquire the roots, because the roots that the American black players like Dizzy and so on have from their youth are not there in our youth. And we had to therefore acquire these things. So we had to work very hard at learning these foundation musics, understanding them, to become a part of our present day music we play now, which is not meant to be anything like it was any other time. It's simply how we feel about music. And that was our intention all along. We thought that was the only thing you possibly could do. Of course, once people fastened on to certain things that we played in the 50s, which were our attempt to play these foundation states of the music, playing ice cream and so on, many people found that to them playing ice cream became an end in itself. They weren't learning to play jazz, they wanted to learn to play ice cream. Some of them did. Some of them still do to this day, and they never get beyond that because they weren't trying to play jazz as a jazz band or jazz musicians, really. And that's fine for them if they want to. The problem is for us sometimes that we get blamed for the existence of those people. And I don't think, you can't blame bad painters on Picasso.